Everywhere I go, I'm getting so much love from fans and stars. Everyone saying how they can't wait for the OP. And I'm gonna blow, they believe in me. Feel so good in what you do. Help somebody else get through. That's why I do the best I can, because I know how blessed I am. I'm so high, I can touch the sky. I know it's my time, and it's now or never.
Hey guys, this is Tonette. Come with you with Stand by Tonette. We'll be doing today a seamless sew-in using our hair company, which is the new version Indian pear. So today we're going to start off by first doing a braid down method, where we're going to start, she's going to wear a side part to the side, like maybe a deep side part with, a deep side part with a full bang. So I'm going to show first how I braid down and all the scalp, and then do with a net, which is a protecting net, to show how, how to keep the sew-in longer, it holds it longer, and it also keeps, from all the damaging thread, the thread on your hair. So we're going to begin. I'm going to part off our hair to the side. So yeah, we're going to make her a deep side part, and the part is going to be over here. We're going to give her a heavy bang so it kind of flows, kind of like her hair is now. But it's going to be a deep side part. And I'm also going to leave out her edges so she'll be able to, pull it up in a ponytail, pull it back or whatever. And so, so those days when she don't want to curl it or anything, it'll be easy to pull back. So when they do have the sew-in, you want the hair to still grow under that sew-in. So her hair is already previously cut, we cut it beforehand, so I didn't show that in the video. But the shampoo I used the Design Essentials Moisturizing Retention, and I also used the Stimulating Conditioner. You want to make sure you get something that's very, very moisturizing, shampoo and conditioner. So when it's under that sew-in, it won't get dry, and break once she takes it out. So as you see now, I'm parting off her sides because we're going to leave some of her edges out. So when she later when she wanted to pull it up in a ponytail, she'll be able to pull that ponytail up. This leave out, I'm just going to braid it down so it won't show. We're just going to make a pattern going around, just braiding down her leave out, so that part won't get caught when we're sewing the hair in. Okay, so now I'm done with the leave out, the braid down for the leave out. As you can see, I just braided it around the head just to show you that, to keep the hair out the way, so when I do start the actual braid down, it'll be, braided down out the way. So now we'll do the actual braiding down for the sew-in. So when you do this braid down, you actually want small braiding, and you want to do a real neat braiding pattern, because your foundation is the most important part of the sew-in. So that keeps the sew-in intact, keep it together, keep it flat, no lumps, no bumps, nothing. So I'm going to start here on her left side, so where her leave out starts. And I'm going to do it mostly like a beehive, you can say, braiding pattern, where it's going to go around her head. So I'm going to start right here on the side, and I'm going to come down the part that I'm going to begin to braid. And just make sure you keep in mind, keep the braiding small and neat. Okay, and I'm going to use a small piece of synthetic braiding hair. This is just to keep her edges more intact, because this is the main part of the sew-in, is the anchor braid. So you want to make sure that anchor braid is not so tight where it's damaging on her edges, but you want to make sure it's secure. So I'm going to use a small piece of synthetic braiding hair. And what I normally do with the synthetic braiding hair to just protect her edges and keep them from, thinning, I also put a little dab of oil. And this is just some dew-growth oil, just to keep her scalp moisturized with this synthetic hair. Because I know sometimes some people say that, the synthetic hair it itches a little bit. So I just kind of oil the braiding hair down a little bit. Then I begin to braid her hair down with the braiding hair. And you want to make sure you don't do it tight, because you don't want to pull her edges, because your edges are real sensitive. And I'm gonna take this braid and it's gonna go around her head. Like I said previously, it's gonna be a beehive method. And keep in mind too, when you get against the part area, you wanna make sure it's really a small parting. Cause that's where you want when you lay that track on top, you want that track to be laid flat. There be no bumps, no lumps. All right, guys, so now I'm done with the braid down method. So as you can see, the braids are really neat and really flat. And they're small. As I stated in previous, you want to make sure the foundation is intact. So with the tail of this braid, I'm going to take it around and tuck it in with the rest of the braids, so it's not hanging out. And we're going to make sure that part is secure. I'm going to take my needle and my thread, and I'm just going to go across it. And the thread, guys, I'm using is nylon thread. With this thread, I like it better than the cotton thread because, you know, the cotton thread, when you wash your hair, when you shampoo the hair, it swells. And with the nylon thread, you won't get that effect. It won't swell. After we do that, we're going to make sure that we oil down her scalp. Because, you know, under that sewing, you want to make sure that hair is moisturized. The scalp is also moisturized. So I'm just going to take my dew growth oil and just go along the braid pattern and just oil her scalp down. Okay, so once I'm done oiling the scalp down, now we're going to do the net, which is the protective net. And I also purchased this net also from my local beauty supply as well. And you can buy by the bulk. And I think it runs just like $25. It is really strong net. And this is the type of net, it doesn't tear. You can't really rip into it. So this is really good net to use when you're doing this sewing. See, I like to use net, like I said previously, that you're able to, you know, when you want to do fill-ins, when you want to make sure those tracks are really close together, seamless, you can also sew on top of the net. So in between those braids, you know, you might have that little extra space, you can sew on top of this net and it'll still hold just like you're doing it, you know, when you're normally sewing on top of a braid. So we're just gonna take the net and lay on top of her head, and we're gonna follow the pattern around her braids. And you're just gonna take your needle and go along her braid pattern. And we're just gonna sew along the braid just to secure the netting down. So you don't have to do it super tight or nothing like that. Just long as, you know, you can do some big looping around for that, because you know you have to also keep in mind that you have to sew along that braid, so you don't want extra tension on her scalp. So I'm done with the net process. As you can see, I sewed the net down. Like I told you, you want to make sure that that net is not so tight around the edges, because that ankle braid, because you also have to, you know, you're going to sew on top of that braid. The two bundles, the two lengths we're using, which is a 16-inch and an 18-inch. And I'm going to start with the 18-inch. You know, the longest one go first and the shortest one on top. And as you can see with this hair, with our hair company, as you can see, the wefts of the tracks are very, very thin. And also you see the luster of the hair. It's very shiny. You know, you don't have to put all that oil, the argan oil and all that. You know, the Indian hair, it has the natural luster to the hair. And so with the tracks being thin, it's easier to, you know, maneuver where you can fold them. And as you know, when you fold the tracks, they're easy to lay against the, you know, the scalp and the hair. So when you fold that track, you see thin weft, very thin wefts. Okay, so now we're gonna start the sewing down method. So you're gonna take, I always start like right at the corner of the hair. I'm gonna start like right up in here. So why I start up here is when, you know, when you're, with the tracking, when I come back and fold that track, I'm gonna fold against the track. I mean against the braid. So it's able, I guess I'll show you when I braid, sew down this first track. I'll show you when it's easier when she pulled that hair back and it flows into the ponytail. You know, you see no tracks, no nothing, no braids or nothing. All you see is hair. So I'm gonna start right at the corner of her head. And you're gonna take that needle and you're gonna go through the net. Through the track, the weft of the hair. I know most people don't like to go through the weft, but I like going through the weft. You know, a lot of people say when you go through the weft, all the hair sheds or whatever. But if you have a good hair and the weft is really intact, when you go through that weft, it won't shed at all. You get minimal sheddage. So when you're going around this track, you want to make sure I take my needle and I go under the braid and I go under the track as well. This is where you're going to show where it's going to be seamless. And also, I know most people do the looping method and all that. I guess, I don't know how I can call mine, but I take the needle and I go through under the track and I go through the weft and I take the thread and I go and I make a loop going around. I just make one loop around and I bring it through. But you want to make sure that track is under the braid. So when I'll show you when I'm done with this track, you're able to just pull that track back and you won't see anything. So that's where it comes in as a seamless sew-in. So I keep following that method, going through. See, as you can see, I take it and go through the loop and I just keep going around with that. So now I'm done with that ankle braid that I was telling you about, the braid that you have to put underneath the braid. So as you can see, when I take this track and I lift it back, you see where you see nothing. It's seamless. As you can go all the way around, it's seamless all the way around. So when she do make that high ponytail, you won't see anything. Until her leave out, so I stop like midway. So this is where the folding technique come in. You have to be very, very careful with the folding. Because I know some people always say, oh, when I fold my track, it's always bulky. So what you do, you take that track, you stop it. So you want to take your needle and go up under the weft. Go up under the weft. And you want to do that like a couple of times just to make sure it's secure. So do it a couple of times. And then you start over with your normal sewing method. And I'm going to sew a little bit on that same braid that I was previously sewing on. And I'm going to keep going on that braid. And I'm going to kind of veer off and start onto that next braid. So, because you still want to keep it where it's kind of halfway connected with that same braid, but with the next braid. So when they do, if you fold in between, you'll see it's seamless. You won't see much of the, the net nor the braid. And I'm going to take this track and I'm going to continue around around her head. We're going to keep following the pattern. And once I get over here, I'll show you again how I take that track and flip it over, because you want to make sure those edges are real flat, so it is seamless when she do pull that ponytail back. Okay, so we back to that edge. Her edges like we did over here. We're going to repeat that same method. We're going to do the fold over method. So right here, once I'm done with that last loop, I'm going to take my thread, then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go up under the braid here. So go up under it And I'm gonna loop it a couple of times just to make sure when I do fold it over, it won't come apart. So once I do that, you're gonna take your the weft of your hair and fold it back. Sometimes I kind of like smash it together to make sure it's no lump in it. I'm gonna repeat that same method. So right here, when we repeat that same method of loop, I kind of take my needle and I go through one weft of the hair, one part of the weft of the hair, and then I take it and go under the braid and pull it through. I'm gonna loop it one more time. As you can see how flat it is when I do that method, the flip over. I know some people like to cut the tracks when they get to the edges. You don't have to necessarily cut that track. If you are able to fold it, no need to cut it. And then I start over again with my normal braiding. Sewing method. And see right there, as you can see, so when she do pull that ponytail, pull her hair back, it's gonna be very flat. That little piece, that weft won't stick out or anything. It's gonna be very, very flat with that method. And I just continue with my sewing method. Okay, so now we're at the last part of the sew-in method. So as you can see, I finished doing all the stitching here. So this is the most important part. You're gonna take that last track and it's gonna lay on top of the braids. Instead of you putting it underneath, it's gonna be on top of the braid. And this is where it's gonna close it off. So I'm gonna do my same looping method here to secure the weft of the track. And this one, I'm not gonna do my actual diamond stitching. This is where I actually kind of loop it around instead of stitching it. Can you cut that real quick? I'm gonna take it. Okay, so now we're done with the sew down method. So now we're gonna, this is the most important part. I'm gonna take this last track and it's gonna go on top of the braids. Instead of, when I was telling you to go up underneath the braiding, it's gonna lay on top. So this is where, when you lay that track on top of those braids, or sew it down on top of those braids, it's gonna lay down very flat. But you're not gonna use the diamond method that I've been using. You're gonna mostly use a looping method. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So with this first track, we're gonna make sure right here, as we did previously, we're gonna loop it around a couple of times. You may want to do it like 2 or 3 times. Because that's gonna keep that track right there, this top track flat and secure. Then you're gonna take your needle and you're just gonna loop it around.
out 56, head gasket piston, hot like sisters. She say she want it slow, so I'ma slow it down, make it last. And when I get right there, she want me to speed it up.
See, when you loop it and I go back around, it's gonna crisscross over it. So I loop it because it lays it flatter instead of you trying to do your pulling through. But if you loop it, it goes flat. It's flat to the head. Yeah.
Watch how I work that stick. Super fine, sit down on my side in my ride. Tell me your thoughts while I work the wheel. She said no problem, got super comfortable, buckled up, and started opening.
Okay, so once you're done with the looping method, I'm gonna go back across it again and loop over it. So that's gonna make sure it's very secure, and it's gonna also be like a cross method. So I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So you see the direction that the thread is going this way. So now I'm gonna take it and go back that way. So it's gonna make like a crisscross stitch method.
So I'm finna switch gears, and this is what she told me in my ear. She said she wanna slow, so I'ma slow it down, make it last. So I'ma make it. And when I get right there, she want me to speed it up, do it fast. Girl, I got every guinea, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So baby, buckle up.
So this is what I'm talking about, the crisscross. Once I went back over that direction with the looping, you see it crisscrossed over. And that's just to make sure that it's secure, it's laid down flat, it's no bumping, no lumping. It's really flat. And see, she still have that flatness, so when you do pull it,
to the spot where we can coast. It's the beat it up, beat it up, beat it up show. It's such a feeling whenever I work that stick. She own it, she need it, and ain't letting go. She say she want it slow, so I'ma slow it down, make it last. And when I get right there, she want me to speed it up.
This part, when I flat iron, I'm going to flat iron it out and press it to her. Press it. So when she pulls it, all
let me pop that clutch. Watch how I work that stick.
Show the sideways, smack it in the air. Legs move it side to side, smack it in the air. Legs move it side to side, smack it in the air.
So now I'm just gonna shape her hair up. So I'm gonna use a comb razor, and that's just to keep it from being so blunt. Instead of using shears, I get that blunt effect. We don't want that blunt effect. We want it to still look flowy, look natural. I'm just gonna come around and just do all the ends first. Yeah, I'm just cleaning up the ends. I don't want to take much off the ends. She still want to keep her length. So I'm just going to, just take away the little stragglers off the end, which is not much, but we just want to take it off. So when she do wear her hair bone straight or whatever, it won't look just real raggedy at the end. It'll have more clean cut at the end. So now I'm going to do the curling, which she just wants some big flowy curls. So I'm going to use, I think this is the Hot Tool. It's a 1 1/4 inch barrel. So I'm just going to make her some big flowy curls. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to also use the Fabulous Flat Iron also. And the key thing always to use, this is human hair. So it's to use a good heat protector so you won't burn or fry the hair. So I use a Silk Element heat protector. It's very, very good. And it's lightweight. It's not oily. It's not streamy, and I always take my flat irons and flat iron just for heat. of the hair, you know, just to press it out. And I'm also using Design Essentials finishing spritz, which is really good. It's very lightweight. Another key thing, when you're doing a barrel curl, you just don't want to let it go. Sometimes you want to just hold it for a second to cool it off a little bit, you know, so when you would release that curl, it stays intact. So with that, I'm just going to keep following the method, the curling method around her head, and I'll show you guys the finished result. So when I press on her lever, I'm going to use this root ease. A root ease is good for, you know, like those crinkly areas at the root that you can't get out. So you just take that, you know, put a little heat protector, and you want to take that and just press along her scalp. And it straightens her roots out. And then that's where you can go and take your flatter and flatten it out. Okay, so now I'm just gonna comb out the curls and style it. Sometimes I just take my comb and I kind of spray a little spritz on it instead of spraying it directly on the hair. You know, you don't want to make the hair so hard. So, you know, just spray a little spritz on your comb and then comb through the curls. Okay guys, this is the final look on our stand of the seamless install. So you can follow me at Stand by Tonette on Instagram, and also Tonette Williams on Facebook, and also I have a YouTube channel. It's Applauding Topics. So, and the makeup was also done by wonderful Paulette Radio, which is Profanity Art. Thanks, hope you guys enjoy.
So much love, fans to start, everyone saying how they can't wait for the OP. And I'm gonna blow, they believe in me. Feel so good in what you do, help somebody else get through. That's why I do the best I can, because I know how blessed I am. I'm so glad I can touch the sky. I know it's my time, and it's now or never. Shine so bright, I light the night, and it feels so right. Ain't nothing better.
A fool if I take it all for granted. A smart man if I keep my feet planted to the earth. Cause the people that hurt can understand it. You speaking outlandish, I'ma show you how to make it all work. Another planet, it's a short-term goal for me. A record soul for me, it's just more of me in your ear. For you to hear Kendrick persevere. Defenses I feel relentless. Ambition with a clear vision. Taking off.